you all here to our first session in August. It's good to see you. And it looks like we still have people drifting in, but we're going to go ahead and get started this morning. And if y'all would, I'd like y'all to all rise, and we will have our invocation. It'll be on the invocation. You want to do it, or you want me to do it?
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. We thank you once again that we have the opportunity to assemble to take care of the business of this county. And as always, dear Lord, we just ask that you will guide our words, our thoughts, our actions, that they will be pleasing to you and at the same time be what is in the best interest of those of us who live in this county. Thank you for everyone who is here this morning. We ask that you just give everyone safe travels back to their respective places. And we pray these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. We have an agenda here in front of us, and I haven't heard of any changes at this time. Are there any changes?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I got one thing we need to add. I just need to add the request from Gay for annexation, just to discuss whether or not the board has any objections to
I'll make that number 4. And that's annexation of the Sitzman property?
Yes, sir, 4 acres.
Okay, haven't heard that, and I just made that number 4, Gay annexation of the Sitzman property. And is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor? So passes. You've had an opportunity to read the minutes. We have our previous work session of July the 24th. We also have our regular session of July the 24th. And do I hear a motion those be accepted as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? So passes. Constitutional officers, I did see Chuck there a while ago. Oh, there you are, Chuck. Have we got AC back down at the courthouse?
AC, I don't know if it's working yet or not. I know they were working on it yesterday. That's all I have. That's all I have.
Okay. Have anything? All right, thank you. Appreciate that.
On the AC, I'm going to hold it installed today. It's a pretty computerized system, so make sure we get it back up.
I made a quick survey and said there's no municipalities represented out there. I don't see anybody, so I just went right over. Okay, department heads. We'll start over here with Skipper.
Nothing this time.
Brent, anything at all? Okay. We've heard that before, Brent. Shaw?
Now, y'all mind if y'all, they say the name of what department they're working, so we can place a face with it?
Okay. IT is Skip. Sean, animal shelter.
Nothing at the time.
Patty, elections. Ron, building and zoning.
I don't have that this time.
Okay. Is there anybody I've missed out there? That covers everybody then. We have no need this morning for a public hearing that I know of. Old business, we have an appointment to DFAX District 4. Are we ready with that,
We
Commissioner?
are not asked to table this at this time.
Is there a second on the table?
Second.
All in favor? Appointment so tabled. New business, appointment to the Library Board District 5, it looks like.
I am working on that, but I need to table that, please. I make that a form of motion.
Okay, we have a table. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? So tabled. Now we're up to discussion of timber harvesting ordinance. Mr. Gay, would you like to lead on this, or is that Ron?
I'll be happy to. We'll get Ron, and I know that some commissioners had some questions.
That's true.
We've, as I think everybody knows, we've had a lot of issues with timbering in the county, you know, and people, last week I got a call, well, Monday I got a call from a gentleman I've known for a long time, and he wasn't really complaining, but just saying, hey, I can't believe they were doing this. And last week they timber the entire week, and they push dirt and mud out into the road with really little disregard for the citizens that are there. Now, when he called me on Monday, we called it in and we got it taken care of, got them to move the mud. They should have known that they needed to do that from the start. They shouldn't have to be forced to do it. So we were asked to look at the timber ordinance today. I went through it last night, and I'll just kind of go over some of the highlights on it. And this was from back in 2005. And Ron, I don't think there's been any changes really to it since that time, right? Changes, okay. And of course, it goes in the beginning to talk about how the commissioners are empowered to protect the health and the safety of the county, rules that you have responsibility for, roads and bridges, and I find it a little bit interesting that this is under ordinance pertaining to roads and bridges. I thought that was a little bit odd, but it is what it is. And it goes on to say it does not apply to small tree trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, things such as that. It does require a bond, and anybody engaged in this has to have a bond. And the bond has first been delivered to the building and zoning office, a valid security bond, or they can do a revocable letter of credit. Now, in this, it says that this shall be in no less than $5,000, and it says per permit entrance. So if they have more than one entrance, then that $5,000, and I don't know how we've been doing that, but that $5,000 bond ought to go per entrance. So if they have 3 entrances, that ought to go to $15,000. And this protects the road system. And then it says security bond or letter of credit shall be valid for the calendar year and no more than 1 year from the date of the bond letter. And it says it may be transferred for the purpose of securing other permit locations as many times as may be approved by mayor with the county. But one of my recommendations, we may need to change some language on this, is that prior to transferring that to another access location, we need to be sure they have closed out that one that they bonded it on. And in doing that, then we could move it at that time, it's still in place. Because oftentimes what happens is they just move and go to the next one, and we have we have problems. We have to go back and work on. Now, when you get into the notice requirements, it says no bond shall begin to remove, cut, harvest timber without first providing notice of such harvesting operation to the building zoning department at least 72 hours prior to cutting, removing, or harvesting. And what we need to do, I think, on this is we need to put a limit in there that says, well, you can't notify us any earlier than this, because all it says is prior to 72 hours. So if I come in tomorrow and I put in, say I'm going to be harvesting timber, and I don't start for 6 months, really nothing here that says that's illegal. But the problem with that is that we don't know where they're harvesting. That's part of the process of the 72 hours. So we need to address that. And also, they need to comply. And if they have not done this, a lot of times these guys will get out there and you go out and say, oh, you're not supposed to be doing this. Okay, I'm sorry. So they get they're instructed to take care of it, get in and do everything, maybe give them a citation. But what they do is they just go on and continue to work. Well, I think the most effective way to get their attention is to put a stop work order on it. Put a stop work order on it until they come in compliance. And that stops them dead in the tracks. And we did that up on a road that we had just paved. They watched us pave it one day, and when the paving equipment got out of sight, they decided today's a good day to haul timber out. Well, they were rolling up the asphalt and everything else because it had not yet had time to cure.
Let me stop you right there. I'm trying to. digest as we go along.
Yes.
Is there, during the notification, is there any kind of unique number system? Is there anything that we know that they would have to say or produce or show if anybody goes out there? I have notified. Is there anything like that in place,
They
Ron?
have to fill out a permit form.
All right, but they've already done that. What I'm saying is when they get ready to do their work, is there any kind of unique number said they've called in, they have notified anybody? Is it, would anybody driving up out there in code enforcement, would they know whether they had notified us or not?
They should have that permit
We should have a permit.
posted.
But I'm asking about the 72-hour thing.
Well, they come in and get a permit, then they're not supposed to do anything. I'm supposed to allow miles, 72 miles to go check the road
Right.
and their driveway before they start cutting.
Okay, 72 hours before they start cutting. That's what that time is for y'all to go out and check it.
Give us time to go
Okay.
out and inspect.
And what are you expecting for?
We make notes, sometimes photographs of additional paper before the truck go in. And we're looking for proper sign of the operation, or sign like that road, nobody other trucks going in and out. And we look for proper width of the driveway, which got to be at least 30 feet, sometimes 40 feet. And we also inspect, make sure you got the gravel down, so on top of your textile material. And if that's not done, then they can't start working to do that. But unfortunately, we have some owners, not all of them, we do have some that are going in and start cutting, we won't go until we see it or use it when the property calls. That's when we find out about it. And we have stopped, we have shut some down, we shut two down last week.
I have a question. Within that 72 hours, since it's, if you get your permit in February, and you 72 hours, and you can come back in October and start cutting, when does Public Works, is Public Works involved in knowing that they're out there? Because one of the things that I noticed is that when they do put the pipes in, it's not the right size pipe. So what do you do? I mean, who else is contacted other than your office that they're out there? Do we send information to Public Works as well?
Copy of permit,
They get a copy of the permit, and how do they get that copy?
fax, from my office.
Just a fax. We're not in a position to transmit stuff to an email or with a number or anything on it, it's just a fax.
Well, we could, but fax works fine. We could do email, they get notified.
All right, so then, once they get noticed, then if you go out and they have not put the proper drainage or the pipe in, then who then enforces them to do that?
Well, we could do that, but, we have to the pipe together, that are not right size.
I know on Barron Road, was it Barron Road, Mr. Gay?
I think it was one, it was Barrett, I think, that just, all they had done on that particular road was drag tree limbs.
Tree limbs
Into the
and
ditch.
in the ditch.
Instead of a pipe.
Instead of a pipe.
Yeah.
And when we
So-
stopped, once we are aware that we stopped, that's when the operation started before we even got noticed.
I guess my concern is there's so much that happens before we know about it. I know we're a big county, we're a timber county, but it's tremendous amount of damage to the roads because of that. And I'm not sure where the ball got dropped, but even Public Works was not aware that they were cutting and the condition of it.
It drops with it, timber harvester. That's where the problem is.
It drops where?
The timber harvester. That's where the problem is.
And we need to, when that's the case, we need to stop work order. We need to cite them like we've been doing, and we need to take them into court. And they will get the message pretty soon, but we have got to be.
Money's the only thing that's gonna stop this. We got
The
to.
ordinance states $500 per incident.
Yeah.
Everything that is.
Well,
And I'd like to see if we can't raise that to $1,000.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I mean, that's usually, it's a state law.
We're working on it.
State law does not allow higher than 500 on this particular case. I mean, that's a whole,
But it says every day that that continues.
$500 per offense per every day they're doing it, so you could easily up it,
Yeah, sure.
you know.
I'll bill for $1,000.
Huh?
I'll bill for over a violation.
Or it's 1,000.
But Some homes just look like some animals.
They're so protected.
They are.
I mean, they are, it's like, you know,
Well, even though they're protected, we do have certain guidelines, even for this, even though this needs to be updated and modified, we need to enforce what we currently have. I think that is more important to me. Until we upgrade and modify this and change some of the language in here, are we enforcing what we currently have in place
When we find out about it.
when we find out about it?
The ones that we have problems with are the ones that we've not been notified, and then they even there.
Is there a pattern, a specific timber company more than others? I mean, you mentioned earlier you've got some that are in compliance, so if you've got a history of the same company doing the same thing,
That's one or two, they just won't comply.
so they don't even get a permit in the first place, most of the time.
Then we have, they're not even in the system, they don't do that.
But, you know, county, I know, we don't know.
okay.
He was talking to me about that.
But I was gonna go on the seventh side.
So we used to get notification, you, property.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll check just an hour road. But we used to not know what the problem was, it's like, no.
I think what I was getting at a while ago, when I go out and I don't see anything posted in the form of a permit, then I know that's pretty much an illegal operation. But if I do see a permit posted, what I was wondering is how I could tell, even by looking at it, that they have done their 72 hours, everything is taken care of, and they're okay to go on in there and start doing their process. Is there any way we could do that?
You should be able to see a 30-foot wide dead rock, riprap,
Well, and I understand that.
going to the woods, and, should be a pipe in the ditch.
Right.
They use existing driveways. And you should see a sign out on the highway, the road is at least 1,000 feet from the site in either direction. Notify the public that trucks are coming in and out. So those things, you see those. they're
Okay.
there. And there should be a permit sign up there on the tree.
Right, that's what I usually look for.
If you don't see that sign, they probably not coming got the permit, or they started at one location, they moved to another location, and didn't let us know that.
Can they
Okay.
take that same permit and move it? I mean, you know, how do you identify, is there numbers on that permit to let you know it's for that parcel? If they're cutting several places in the county, what is in place to let us know that that permit is for that site?
Every sign that we issue on the back, we write down the track number, parcel number, and the date it was issued.
Is there any place on the front of that to put permitted for whatever the address is?
That would be almost impossible to do that. These signs are made up there, whether durable, it comes by $5 a piece. And we use them over, keep, provide signs, $5 sign every time somebody leaves. We require them to bring the sign back to us. And if they don't,
Yeah.
then, that's $500. Not so sure that's legal anymore, but that's what we do.
There, and I know you're reading all this ordinance, but I do have to say, I think we have a lot of work to do. I think that we owe citizens of this county to be more diligent, to be more precise, to make sure we have checklists that are there in place for these situations, because I'm going to tell you, I've heard all these board members talk about the harvesting and things like that. I had not experienced up until a couple of months ago, and it was probably the worst thing that I've seen out on the road where I live. And they used a private driveway directly across from me. They did not put in a bedding of gravel prior to starting. And we can't protect the citizens if they're using private property. But I want this put in the paper to them when they're doing these contracts with these companies. They need to make sure if they're using their private driveways that they have in writing in that contract that they put back that driveway as good as or better than it was prior to the start of harvesting, because that is something they can do to protect themselves. We can't protect that private property, but we can protect the county property. I think there's a lot of work to do. I think we have a lot of thinking and getting with our attorney as to what we can and cannot do. But these people keep coming and doing it, and there's a reason that they keep coming and doing it, is because they're not being held responsible. And we've got to start holding these people responsible, because until we do, it's not going to stop. They're tearing up the roads, they're leaving rock, they're leaving mud everywhere. And I'll tell you, the particular person, and Ron, you know, that had it on my property was related to me. And the amount of mud that these people pushed with this big equipment has to exceed 4 feet on each side of his driveway, and probably about this wide all the way up his fence line. There's nothing that this 70-something-year-old man can do to go in there and pull all that dirt back so that he can utilize his property. But these people profited. They came in, did what they wanted to do, and part people didn't give a damn. So we've got to hold them responsible on our end to do what we can, but the citizens also need to make sure when they're contracting with them that they put in there that they return their property as close to where it was so that they can access it. The wife of my relative couldn't even park there. She couldn't go up the driveway. They graded it down so much that the driveway would not even let water run off of it. It just sat there. So they need to make sure of that, but we need to hold these people responsible.
Absolutely.
I don't know what we can do beyond the right-of-way line as far as,
We can shut them down because they're not in compliance.
well,
And they were not in compliance. 3 times that I called your office, they were not in compliance.
they started before we had inspected.
I started to shut them down, but I can't do that. Because my way would have been a good way. Chuck would have been coming and getting me.
Let me tell you from my experience. I'm gonna have Ms. Johnson right here on the show too, because she's experienced it going on in her road up there. Leroy Robinson Road, y'all heard it?
Oh, yeah.
I live on Clark Road, it's a dirt road. Ms. Johnson lives on Leroy Robinson, it's a dirt road. We had some timber harvesting going on my road, if you will. And these logging outfits have no regard whatsoever in what they do. Created a rut so deep in my road, Park Road, that we were bottoming out when we was traveling. And I was concerned about the way, I was also concerned about that public lights down below my house going toward Massey Mill Road, because I didn't think that pipe was going to be able to hold that weight of the timber they were dragging. They hadn't put nothing back like it was. I think they satisfied the landowner, but I hope the county's going to recoup all those loads of gravel that they had to haul out there, fill in them ruts on Clark Road. Because I know it's expensive, because they made many trips out there with gravel and rock. Now, I ain't seen a permit yet. I rode by it the other day. Now, I was told that the zoning office were out of permits. That's why they didn't have one posted.
we were not. I'll look into that.
Tyrell was checking on it. Tyrell was talking to the foreman on that job. But that's all Tyrell could do, was just talk to them. Never shut it. Y'all know we've had a lot of rain. A lot of rain. And they were still pulling those logs while they went down for it. And I live on the dirt road. And then what they're doing, they're making it worse and worse. And I actually said something. But, yeah, I could shut them down. But if we got procedures in place, and that's what we're talking about, ordinance. Y'all make a good ones that Tyrell or Wayne, Ron, y'all make a good ones to shut them down. But, landowner offended me when he said, well, they're taxpayers too. That's right. I said, but if you don't stay on top of them, we're going to be that foot the bill for this damage that we're doing. Somebody's going to need to be held responsible for paying for all this gravel. I welcome somebody died and just grew up, and what the condition for it was in.
And understand, I don't want to go after these people just financially. I mean, I don't, that's not my whole goal. I don't want them just to have to pay. I want them to do what's right.
Do it right.
And if we have to get to do what's right by them having to pay, then I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that's what we have to do. But that's not my goal, is to make them pay for something that they did right, only to do what they did wrong.
You said they came out there it was 3 times they were in violation, so that should have been a $1,500 fine
Oh, yeah.
already.
I think one of the things too, and Sheriff, thank you for bringing this is very costly to the county. Every time we have to go back out and use gravel that could have been used somewhere else, this is costly. Leroy Robinson Road, we went through that for almost 2 years. I brought it up at every meeting for a long, long time. I've got a road right now over in the Alberton area, it's Sullivan Road. That road is so damaged now from the loggers that the county can't even do the work. We're gonna have to contract it out. So that's an additional cost to the county that we could have used that money for something else. So, yes, Commissioner Grigger, we're not here trying to gouge anybody. That's not our purpose. But on the other hand, when your operation is costing the county and the citizens and the taxpayers of this county of your negligence, then we have to do something different. There's no ifs and buts about it. There's something we're missing. We're dropping the ball somewhere. And, our ordinance specifies certain things. We need to enforce it and update it. So once again, I know before I became a commissioner, there was a meeting with the timber people. It was, to me, they were extremely hostile to the board that existed at that time. It was very mean-spirited. And once again, they're telling us what profit they're bringing to the county, but no, they're not, because half the time we don't even know they're in the county logging. So we're not getting any money.
Repair roads.
Or use it to repair roads. So the county's not getting ahead of the game with this. And I know it's big business for the county, but once again, I think we all need to come back to the table and have some more discussion, and we need to enforce what we currently have until we can upgrade and modify this.
And we need to make changes to the ordinance. I think we need to make changes to our processes, because until those processes are changed, it's not going to happen. And here's the instance that really aggravates me. These people crushed both sides of the pipe coming out of the drive. They pushed so much mud onto it with their equipment that it wouldn't drain. So therefore, it's running over onto the highway. It's running over everybody else's driveway on that side because there's no drainage. They just left. They didn't fix it. So now, because they're not fixing it, Tyrell's group is going to have to come from another area at some point and be pulled off of a job to correct something that should have been corrected by these people. So my way of looking at it is, it's costing taxpayers money because we're having to fix this, but it's costing even more because we're having to pull them from a job to do another job that should have been done by these people. Now, I know timber people hold a lot of weight in this state. I don't care. I put my pants on just like they do, and I'm not scared of a single one of them. They need to do what's right, and if we have to start enforcement, then that's what we're going to do.
In a situation like that, before they're allowed to move to another location or get their bond back,
Need to have.
After they don't get the bond back.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how much we have collected in citations over the last, let's just say, 2 years for violations.
Probably $200.
Yeah.
If I get court dates, I'll come down and bust you.
That's what I'm saying, $200, and we know, well, number one, it should be $500 right off the bat for any offense. So $200 shouldn't even be in there. So we know we've had violation after violation. I know I've reported someone, I don't see a permit, I call it in, and y'all been out there fast. So that should have been $500 right off the bat because they did not have the permit when they started.
well,
I want to find that $100. Maybe $600, not $500.
We got problems all the way around. Whether it's, with the court system, or whether we need to put some more teeth into our ordinance, whatever it is, we gotta do something. That's crazy.
Absolutely. Well, just a couple more thoughts on it. Then I want to go back to, I think, what Mr. Buster was getting at. Also, we've had to down that have cut timber and have not returned it for taxes. So we hear where they're paying taxes. Well, some of them are, some of them try to get by without it. We also need to be sure when they come in and they go through their paperwork that they present us with a current business license. Working out of our county, they need to have it. You may be doing this already, but they still need to bring us a business license from somewhere or a statement from that entity saying we don't require a business license. We need to, if we can, Susan, I'd like to make them responsible. I'd like to have them come in and say, here is the route we're going to go back to get to a state route or, whatever. And if this is along a dirt road in particular, we need to have something that requires them to maintain that dirt road in a passable condition for all the people that may want to go down that road, whether they drive a pickup truck or a car that's low to the ground. And the taxpayers here shouldn't have to do that. They should have some responsibility for doing that.
I think that's reasonable.
So I think that needs to go into the ordinance as well.
Well, and the property owner has some responsibility here too. We've had lots of discussion about taxes. They know they're supposed to pay taxes because they're paying nothing in property tax until they sell that timber.
That's right.
It's in conservation, so they're not paying anything. So they have a responsibility as well.
Right.
Within 10 days of the sale, I believe that's right in the law.
Supposed to.
I think somebody has to show up within 10 days of the date of that contract and pay the ad valorem on that value of that timber. Most of the time, the predetermined price is set when they come out there to buy your timber.
What we do there is, every time somebody comes and gets a permit, cut timber,
Yeah,
we assign a number to that.
okay.
We attach the tax reporting report, I don't know the name of it, but it has a number on it. We attach that to the permit that they are supposed to go away. Straight from the office to the tax assessor, give them that permit, so that's how the law.
They're supposed to take it, but we don't know if they're gonna take it. We need to haul it
Well,
over there
if
or
they don't,
something.
that landowner is responsible at that point.
Well, we heard Mr. Knowles say at our budget meeting, last week before last, they had found X number
Yeah.
of properties that the taxes had not been paid on.
And I think a lot of that is they didn't even start the process.
And they may not have.
Yeah.
They
I don't
just
know.
tried to come in and out. And then we also need to penalize that group
That's right.
that doesn't come in. Because if we don't penalize them with, some way, then why not just keep my money till the county catches me?
Catching, that's
And
right.
if they don't catch me, hey, I'm ahead. If they do catch me, well, it's no different than if I'd have paid it on time. We need
What-
to do
Is there
that.
penalties involved
There
with
could
that?
be, there could be.
So
And I-
currently there is.
I understand that we have not assessed any penalties yet. I'm doing plan on talking to the tax commissioner's office about that scenario and discussing.
Because we have located several parcels
Several.
already. So then that means we've got to go back and do an assessment of how much actually was cut, which is time consuming.
Right.
That's another part of manpower that's being taken away to get an overall estimate of how much timber actually was cut.
Ron, I have one more question. In your office, for those that do quote-unquote the right way and have the permit posted, they return that permit to you.
That's right.
At that point, do you go out and check and make sure that everything is right before you give that $5,000 back to them
Security bond.
when they turn that in?
The security bond, we don't call that bond, it's damage. The security bond stays in my office, it's valid for a year. That $5,000 bond really equates to help the county offset costs to pay up the road.
But we've never claimed any of it. Nope. And just like his case, he's saying the ditches are still full right now. So they did not do what they were supposed to do on that particular site.
And he's supposed to, the operation there is supposed to be going back down, should have gone back down yesterday or today and notify me of, because I've asked him to clean out that pipe. And that's a scenario where if they don't do it right in a particular place, they're responsible for it. We shouldn't let them harvest anywhere else. They need to go back and fix that before they do anything else.
I think something that's not clear to me at this point, do we still have that bond?
We do.
You have it for a year. That's what I heard you say. So we can still go against that thing even after he's pulled out. Okay, that's what I want to hear.
But it's kind of,
We
they
just
do it kind
haven't done
of floating bond, right?
It's close bond.
It's floating bond.
What does that mean? I'm sorry.
They have to renew the bond every year. It expires in 1 year.
But they only have one bond.
Only have one bond.
See, I think they need a bond.
So
for
one bond,
every
they can have 5 places that they're harvesting.
Right. $5,000 not gonna cover the damage thing.
damage.
But if we don't even try to collect on it, what good does it do anyway?
Well,
Can you tell me what's a floating bond? That terminology, I don't know what it means.
I don't know if we can require more than one $5,000 bond.
The ordinance says we can't.
It's per permit.
Per permit.
It says per, yeah, I think that's what it's per
Per
entrance.
permit,
So
per
that'd be for
entrance.
every place that they are.
So they're,
What Ron's alluding to is under OCGA 12624, state law, no county or municipality, subsection 5, shall require a fee of any kind for receiving a notification of a timber harvest. What I need to research is whether a bond would constitute a fee. I would think.
It gets returned to them if
Correct.
they do it
Right.
correctly.
I just need to make sure we're in compliance with that.
it's, I'm sorry, Mary, go ahead, I cut you off.
Well, I just have one question. So from what I'm understanding from the process, we allow the homeowner or the property owner, once that timber is cut, it's left up to them to go in and pay the taxes on the timber that was cut?
If it was not paid by the harvester, if that timberman did not go pay that tax, then it falls back on that homeowner.
Okay, and
Sure.
and we have a process in place to know who paid the taxes and when it was paid?
Yes, ma'am. There's state law regulates all of that, but the timber came off of the, it used to be taxed in with property every year. Timber harvesters didn't like that, so they had this big campaign, Keep Georgia Green, la la la, and they got it taken off, except for they paid one time, and instead of paying at 40%, they paid at 100% at the time of harvest. But there are particular documents, particular regulations that they have to file, and they have to file it, with the county to show what they harvested. And so it depends if Mr. Buster hires me to come out and cut timber, and I say, Mr. Buster, I'm going to give you $10,000 for it, I'm responsible for it. Mr. Buster, if I go out to Mr. Buster's house and he says, well, I'll pay you 20% for cutting it, but I want the profits off of it, then he's responsible for the taxes. So it depends on how the contract reads. But in this ordinance, they're supposed to notify us as to the arrangement that is made.
Supposedly.
Supposed to, right. And it says that,
Well, we've already permitted that too. I'm going to allow her to ask that question. Go ahead and stand. What's your question?
I don't have a question, I have experience with this. Because I had property,
Can
you need to come up to
Come
the
up
front.
to the front. Yeah.
Give us your name and
Name and,
address.
yeah.
Address.
State your name.
I'm Stephanie Phillips Hardy, and I own a tract of land on Leroy Robinson Road. And back in 2013, I had property cut. And when the harvester came and we discussed it, he came down to the county office, and I received a tax notice from the tax office, in which I had X number of dollars that I was supposed to pay. Well, I had a date that it was supposed to be due, which was in February. I, in turn, sent that money in with a little tax notice. It was sent back to me by the county office. And it said that my taxes had already been paid, but they hadn't been, because Mr. Parker had come down and he had registered with, I guess, Mr. Garrett's office, and he had told me what I needed to do, because he had certain things that he had to do as far as the county was concerned. So I, in turn, kept the money until when we had an election, and I had to pay for that property, that timber that was cut off of my property. But that went to them and it came back to me. But I did receive a tax notice from the tax commissioner's office for those taxes.
So, Ms. Phillips, what happened in that whole thing? Did the timber company actually go ahead and pay the ad valorem?
Their part, not my part.
Okay.
They were supposed to, from my understanding, they had to pay their portion of ad valorem for their cutting the timber. And I, as the property owner, had to pay my portion, so I did.
Well, that could read either or. I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, as long as the ad valorem is paid, it really doesn't matter who pays it, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so if you put it in your contract that that timber harvester was to pay it, he was supposed to pay it off.
Generally,
But
there's
you
not.
paid something, and then they sent it back to you
From the county office.
from the county, returns your money to you. And then what happened when you had to go back and pay it?
When they went back through the tax records,
Okay.
they notified me that I had not paid this with interest, and I did pay it with interest because I had my return check
Yeah.
that they sent back to me. And my concern was the record keeping there, that they didn't know what they were supposed to have been collecting as far as property taxes or ad valorem taxes on that timber.
Okay.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
comment. Listening to this, it sounds like to me, Ron and Mr. Gay too, that we need to start looking at making some changes to this ordinance and maybe bringing it up to date, maybe sprucing it up a little bit. And if there's an area there where enforcement needs to be strengthened, maybe we need to do that. But there's a couple of things that we haven't mentioned, and I know some of the other counties have. Maybe it's time for us to start looking at a seasonal clause. I know we get a lot of harvesters coming here in the wintertime because some of the other counties don't permit them to harvest during that season. And maybe we also need to put a rainfall clause in there. If it rains 2 inches the day before, don't put your truck in there. And I mean, that might be an answer to what we need to do, because really all we have is an ordinance and enforcement. Beyond that, we have nothing.
Well, when we had all of that meeting all those years ago, that was one of the things that was said over and over and over, that these harvesters are coming here because we allowed them to harvest in the rain and other counties did not. Now, when we had the meeting with the harvesters, they said that was not true, but it seemed to be the case, that we were known as a place that they could come and not be.
The ordinance we got in place now can't outvote that meeting with them all.
This one right here? No. Because Charles's signature is on here, and I was on the board when we had that meeting, so this didn't come from them.
2005.
Yeah, I mean, no, I didn't come on the board until 2010, so.
I have an additional question, ma'am.
Is there?
Come to the podium. Come to the podium.
Is there any,
Susan
State your name and address.
Susan Olvey, 19075 Highway 85.
Good deal, go ahead.
Is there any type of public notice for these harvesters in the Vindicator? Is there anywhere that so that the people can know who's supposed to be there and who's not? Because I was asking Ms. Hines this morning about the harvesting going on Luthersville Road. There's a huge plot of land that they have just absolutely stripped.
Oh, I've seen that. yes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any requirement for them to have any in our public organ. I don't think there's anything that has to be there.
I was
Is that right,
just,
Ms.
you know, if we don't have enough people to patrol the county, let us help you by requiring a public notice so that we know what's supposed to be done and where.
And look for that yellow permit.
That's what-
If you don't see that, then you know there's a good chance they haven't gone through the proper
If
procedure.
you don't see it, then contact Ron.
Yeah.
If you see that sign, it's got my phone number on it, you see what's
Right.
wrong with it, call me. But every timber operation is supposed to have a yellow sign posted in it.
Mr. Gay, I'm sorry. I know we had discussed having, since we're such a big county and we only have one code enforcer, we had talked about deputizing those in public works.
Got a couple of public works.
So-
We got two,
in
three,
his
you count
office.
Ron and their
We got
office.
5 now.
So we have 5 people that can enforce this. So
And I
that means
have
they've had the training and they're ready to go, or they,
Yeah, I think they're all, they completed everything. Yeah, have they get sworn in by the judge
Yes,
yet?
sworn in, they're on the court. We all 5 of us are.
so we've got 5 people right now in a position when they're out and about to see something of this nature to do a citation. All right, and there are these citations done on a pad or something, or do they have something with them at all
They
times?
definitely have a citation pad with 3 copies to it.
And-
One gets a copy, we get a copy, and the violator gets a copy.
So who gets, the violators get a copy? Who else?
My office gets a copy, and the court gets a copy.
I'd like a copy. I'm seriously not prosecuting.
Couple other things, Mr. Buster, you're right on this weather thing, definitely, that was one of the things we were gonna recommend too. I got some ideas on the signs and the posting. I know Ron says it costs about $5 a piece, but I think we can pass that $5 on to the harvester. And if we had a sign printed and it had 2018 on it, then fill that out. You could have it laminated enough that it'll get through the season, because you don't want them to have it for 5 years. You just want them to have it for harvest. And make it big enough, make them post it with a date and the time and when it expires and everything, and issue each one to an individual. Well, if you put 2018 on it, they can't stick it in their pocket to use it next year. So I think there's some things that we can do, in the process to make this more open to the public.
Well, how much is each application?
What we do, I don't know this deal, tell them all to come to get a permit. We collect a $500 deposit. If they don't bring that sign back, we keep that deposit and we put it back. Most all of them bring it back. There's been a few that did not bring it back. We on that check. Of course, we got a call, just said what to do. Their bank. They want to, they must have filed for one, but we get it.
So there's not an actual fee for application. We're only having a fee for the sign.
Under state law, we can't charge a fee.
For application, okay.
Can you charge for the, just the time, not an extra fee, but can we charge for the staff time to be able to process it, a reasonable thing?
Not according to the state law. No administrative fee whatsoever.
Wow.
See, they're so
They're tied
protected.
hands too.
But I think the bond would fly.
Could we charge them the cost of the permit signs?
And that's restitution, I don't think.
I would think we could, and that may solve some of it too. And then get back to your issue of the dates and the times.
Well,
If you get a building permit, you got to
That's
display
right.
that on the site.
my question I get, I don't know if it's a question or not, but it sounds like we're moving in a direction where we need to have somebody assigned just to go through the ordinance and just change that thing, tweak it, to be done. And I guess that
Wherever
would
we
be you
can
and
do it
Ms.
legally,
Susan and
yeah.
Ron.
I've already got a lot of notes already, so.
Well, could y'all do that and
I'll
bring
be
it
here
back to
Monday.
us?
And we don't recommend some definite changes to the ordinance.
No.
Back to you guys. In the
Can I
meantime,
also,
we're gonna,
Mr. Gay, can I also make a recommendation that as we look at this and tweak, there's so many other counties that, have timber and harvest as well, especially in South Georgia. May we look at some of the ordinance in other counties to see what they have in their language, or maybe there's something that we might have not looked at or discussed today, so that we can be, I'm not gonna say in compliance per se, but proactive and see what other counties have done, and to eliminate some of these issues that we're now facing, because this has been going on for quite some time.
Okay, you have a question, sir, come to the.
My name's Ben Spangler. I live at 229 Taunton Road in Gay. And actually, Mr. McCoy and Ms. Hines, y'all know just as good as I do, last night, we got a ton of rain on the north side.
Yes, you did.
They're logging today. So there's gonna be mud on the roads, there's gonna be everything on the roads. But that, and you know, I'm new to dealing with any type of county government. I tell you this, me just sitting here listening to all y'all talk about the roads, that's why this county doesn't have any money. There's no fines, there's nobody doing anything to hold somebody responsible. I tell you right now, there's a lot of timber pimps, as I call them, in the county. And they abuse people like her, like me, or anybody else. Now, I went to a reputable timber person. He took my taxes out before I got the check. That is a reputable timber person. He respects the county. He's doing what he can for him just because he respects the county and he lives in the county. A lot of these people don't live in the county and they don't care about the county. They don't care about the roads. One example, and Ms. Hines knows about it, Carmel Road is a terrible spot from the log. And several people got hit head on. Nobody's fixed their road. They passed it. But if there's still a bond out there, somebody needs to fix it because it was done by law. But it just, I mean, we see a lot of issues up on the side, and the timber pimps in this county are so bad. I was offered anywhere from $15,000 to $27,000 for my timber. So if they've got that much profit in it, they can afford to pay a little more, whether it's for a sign or whether it's for fixing the road. A lot of these people do not want to fix the road. And I think it was Mr. Ronnie that said it. The problem may not just be the loggers, the people cutting the timber. The problem's the truckers. I've had problems with the truckers. The truckers are the ones that's running over the pipes. The truckers are the ones that's dirty. Because you know what? Whose responsibility is it? It isn't the trucker's responsibility. It's the logger's responsibility to put the rip rock at the road. So I don't know how y'all can control the truckers, because the truckers come from all over. All they're doing is running timber. They could care less.
But they're contracted, those timber people.
They're contracted. It's the timber guys responsible. But I mean,
we have to pinpoint one area. We can't fly here and there and everywhere, so it has to be
somebody's got to pay the fine.
That's right.
And if it's the contractor, the timber company, I mean, if he's getting this independent people to haul it for him, it falls back on him. Just like a lot of this is falling back on this board. You've got to make some hard decisions, you know, because the residents and everyone is saying this is not fair. So at some point in time, someone's got to be held accountable.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I've had timber people came to me that I can get you out of taxes if I don't have to get a permit. And,
I'm sure.
And I mean, it happens, I know, and I didn't use them. I used somebody that lives right down here towards Warren Springs, and they did it legitimately. And because, like I said, they live in the county and they respect the county. Now, when they get on the state road, they don't care about the state road. Who fixes the state roads? Because the fire station at 362 and 85 has been damaged by dump trucks and logging trucks. Right now, they're rolling up the asphalt. Now, is that a state problem?
That is a state problem.
It's not the state route, it's theirs.
And other point on logging, can we get the DOT involved? Because these truckers drive like 100 miles an hour.
Now, the DOT is supposed to be involved.
I have friends of the state patrol that live in that area, try to do the best they can. But I'm going to be honest with you, I've not seen one DOT person up there pulling an 18-wheeler over. I've seen the sheriff's deputies pulling people over, but I have not seen one person from the DOT in that area.
I've seen them in
Timber harvesters have a higher level of weight limit.
Yes, they do. Big dump trucks.
And they do, and that happened to us. You remember, Ron, back on the, what's the road right there next to the airport, Temple Dukes? No, Temple, I think it goes right up next to the airport. They were harvesting out on that end, and I went out there and sat and waited for those trucks to come out and took pictures of it and all, and they were overweight, and GDOT did get involved, but again, they got by with it because some kind of weight allowance, and nothing happened to them, and they tore that road up, and we had not been long paved that road. That's been several years ago now.
It's a timber lobby. They have a pretty big
Oh,
lobby.
it's a big lobby.
Thank you all for your
You are right,
appreciate
it is a trucker.
Thank you.
And if I had a badge today to be in two of the truckers having a few little words out there, that's all.
You got to talk to that man back there.
He would have come and got you.
Again, the only thing I see we can do is tighten this ordinance up and just change the language a little bit, just enforce it. I can't see anything else that we can do.
We'll certainly want
That being said, folks, I think we're ready to move on here. Let's go to item number 3 and set a public hearing for adoption of the 2018 millage rates.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we're meeting this afternoon, actually, with the tax commissioner, tax assessor, school system to try to lay out our millage rate for the upcoming year. We need to get that done about September the 1st. And we've got advertisements. We're gonna try to advertise on the 17th, 24th, and I know we have a meeting on the night of the 28th, but I would like to kind of separate this into its own separate, meeting. So, we were looking at possibility of maybe the 29th. It should not take long. That'll be that next Wednesday. If there's a time that works best for the board.
Special call meeting?
Special call meeting.
At 9 a.m.?
9 a.m.
But what are the meetings on the 17th and 24th? What are the times?
Those are ads.
Ads, okay, I'm sorry,
And you got to run a
okay.
5-year history and everything, and the proposed
Okay.
rates. And then what we would do is, we would adopt those on the 29th.
Okay.
Has anybody got a problem with August 29th at 9 a.m.? Special call meeting?
Won't take long, right?
It won't take long. And I hate to have you guys come right back. I just didn't want to.
I understand doing
And then, of course, we have
Does she want us-
also a period of time. We have 10 days after the advertisements, and I want to be sure we get that 10th day in there.
Okay, I need a motion then. The public hearing, we will set it August the 29th at 10 a.m. Do I hear a motion?
10 or 9? I thought we said 9.
I thought we said, okay, I wrote it. I'm sorry, I can't read my own writing. At 9 o'clock.
Now, they gonna move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
All in favor? Meeting is set for 29th at 9 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next item is the gay annexation of the Sitzville property out there, which involves about 4 acres, and I don't think it's all 4 acres, but some of it's already there. All right, tell me about this. I know they have a petition for this.
Yes, sir. They have received a petition for annexation from the Sitzville dated, I think it was July, I'm going to get to that in my stack, July the 9th.
9.
That requires, they came through with the 100%, which means really basically that they're the only entity that's looking to come in and have, and be annexed. All right, well, the law requires that the city notify the county that they received this and advise us what their zoning is and what the planned use is. Well, I have the application July 9th. I did not have anything from the city of Gay, but I talked with her and asked her that she please send this, and she did by email, but I do not have a date on this letter whatsoever, but I'm going to take it to be that the date she emailed it to me, and I'll verify that is the date. So the county has 30 days, and this was a couple weeks ago.
Let me stop you right here, Mr. Gay, so I can get a clear picture here. When you move a sign out, the city limit sign, you're affecting property on both sides of the road. Is that correct?
Well, not necessarily. If you have the sign, if you have
You
it.
can have a city limit sign that's where the property is different on either side of it.
It's like that
Usually they
little
use a
circle.
circle. Yeah, usually they use a circle, but they don't have it.
They're
Through annexation.
That property right outside of Warm Springs,
Okay.
that's annexed.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
city on that side, the other side's not.
Yes, yes.
That seems strange,
The
but anyway.
the thing is, if,
You don't have to move the sign.
if you're on a county road, for example,
Right.
then the city
But this is a
annexes.
state road.
This is state route, but on the county road, if the city annexes on one half of it, remains a county road. If they annex across it and take in both sides, it becomes a city street. So in this case, what you'll have is they'll have a circle and they'll have a little box that'll be out for that 4 acres.
Okay, once they annex one side of the road,
Yes, sir.
that eliminates us from any responsibility county-wise on that property.
On that property. Now, if it, naturally, this is a state route, but if it were a county road,
Sure.
we'd still have that responsibility.
The road
to annex
itself, right.
across the
Because it's
road.
just one.
Right. And so she has notified us that annexation is, the property is zoned A1, and they do not plan to change any zoning. And of course, we know that it's still up in the air as to what they're wanting to do there. But being inside the city does not negate their issue with environmental health. And that's still something that they're going to have to resolve somewhere. So
It just takes us out of it.
it takes us out of it. And so my request today is to ask the board, do you want to file any objections, or do you want to just let this go forward? And I'll send them a letter that says we have no objection to this based upon the application of your, letter of intended use. We're somewhat limited in what we can do anyway now. At one time, we had a lot of authority with that went along with this service delivery strategy, but through the years, GMA has successfully watered that down until the county has very little. About the only time you have a lot of say in it is to try to annex across a county boundary. Like say, if Hogansville was trying to annex something in Meriwether County, then we have a lot more opportunities, a lot more, say in that. But if it's inter-county, there's not a lot of objections.
Now, what would be a grounds for us to object on?
You could, if it was substantially different, say they were gonna put, instead of what they got, which is house, maybe they were gonna put a high-rise apartment there. It might impact the other properties and things. I think you could object, if there's a substantial thing.
But they're still gotta pay county tax, and now they're gonna be paid city tax.
Yeah,
That's right.
I say, it doesn't affect us really at all.
Well, I think we can solve this pretty quick. Has anybody on the board got any objections? And if you don't, let me hear a motion. I move we have no objections then.
I'll second.
All in favor? We're through with that, Mr.
We'll
Hicks.
send them a letter, how about that?
Oh, man. Since Mr. Bill is not here, is there anything financial you want to bring up?
Just that we're, doing fine and getting ready to analyze the tax digest.
And our condolences go out to Mr. Bill and his family in the loss of his mother-in-law there. Well, it's time for our county administrator. Go ahead, Mr. Gay.
Okay, yes, sir, thank you. Just want to remind the board and everyone that our next meeting, August 28th, we'll hold that at the courthouse, historic courthouse. We mentioned that. We have applied for continuation of our permit at Lake Meriwether for our tourist accommodation, and because we have the RVs coming in. Now, we are going to need, which is something we already planned, we're going to need to add a dump disposal station there. We've already been out and looked at it, and we'll be bringing that back here in the not too distant future. We did have someone, despite the fact they're painted, I think, a bright yellow color, ran into our gate at Lake Meriwether and destroyed the gate to the tune of about $1,350. We are having that repaired, and we're pursuing the person who ran into the perpetrator.
So we know who it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait a minute, Sheriff, you want to make a comment? Go ahead, because this will be interesting.
Mr. Gates, is that including the labor cost in that figure?
Yes, sir, it is. $1,350.
So there's gonna be $1,500 more. That's the bill. That's why I said the labor cost.
Well, we'll have Public Works involved as well.
We already have. They had to go down yesterday and look.
Moving what's there, preserving it, so it'll probably be over 1,500 time we get through.
The rest is forthcoming. That's all.
Trying to get in.
Okay, appreciate
We
that.
appreciate your help.
Trying to squeeze in or something.
So,
So I want to fill it.
2,000, 2,500, whatever you want.
No, I hear 3,000.
Okay, let's see, service delivery strategy, City of Greenville had applied for a CDBG grant, and we had an extension on our service delivery strategy to get some things done. They were up against a timetable because the project they were doing was not included in the previous service delivery strategy, so they couldn't go on that one. So last week we worked and we made minor changes to the service delivery strategy. We got that in late Friday afternoon, so we got everything taken care of for Greenville in that process, etc. It really was a matter of DCA. I think if they looked at the maps a little bit closer, they wouldn't have had the confusion, but we went back and made them even more clear. The Duran fire station report came in, not fire station, landfill came in with the methane monitor and everything is in compliance. That was for July. And we met on our fire stations. The one in Lone Oak has the siding going up. They were supposed to have started the one in Luthersville, but I didn't see any steel as of yesterday. And so I'm going to call them back on that. We're going to meet again in about a week and a half and see where we are. The area at Duran that we have the property, we're having some soil issues there with some high water tables, but we're working through to make that work with the situation. Transit bus was in the wrong place at the wrong time the other evening, and a large oak tree fell and hit the bus and totaled the bus.
On LaGrange Street, no less.
On LaGrange Street, yes, sir. And
It did total it?
It
Yeah.
did.
I did see
And
the picture. I knew
Fortunately,
it
our
looked
driver
like.
only got kind of
I know, he was fortunate, or she, whoever.
It hit in front of and behind. It was just like he was in a little, luckily no hazard. Absolutely. It was late in the day, so I think he was probably coming back here after his last drop-off. Last thing, guy, is that we're making the application again for our scrap tire abatement program. We were about to turn in our expense last time, and before we count our labor, just hauling and things like that, we already have $8,000 worth of tire removal. And, I had a hard time convincing them that we might have that much money, but indeed we are. So I would think that our next application will be they'll be a little more receptive to the amount of work that we're doing. So, and that's all I have. Unless the board has any questions.
Just one comment I've got about the prep for the 28th. Let's get a punch sheet going on that. So, and we were talking even earlier with Skipper about having at least adequate sound down there.
Yes, sir. We'll do that. We'll have adequate sound. There's a lot of things we're going to do, and I need to talk about when we get to that meeting. Susan and I talk about it.
Yeah.
Is that on the second floor?
Just on the second floor of corporate.
Okay, Mr. Threadgill, we'll go ahead with our Portsmouth County Commissioners.
I've talked enough today. I'll pay.
Okay, Ms. Mayor.
I don't have anything. I do offer condolences to Tyrell. I know you mentioned Mr. Beal, but Tyrell also for his running loss.
Just a few things I was going to bring up. We had mentioned we talked at length about a fuel system for the airport. We need to probably just continue to push on that, get that thing lined up and
Well,
going.
I think we've got a meeting. I've asked Scouts to set up a meeting with a couple of airport authority members, Bill and myself, and Phil Everly, just by phone conference. Sure, we can talk about the specifics.
So you're already moving on that?
Already moving on
Very
that.
good. And I'm still getting called about road conditions. I mean, it's obviously the rainfall, and I don't know what we do to tell people to be patient, because it's stopped up sewers, it's trees down, it's all kind of just road conditions out there.
It's not going to be better till the rain
No,
lets
it's
up.
not. And there is, I wish Tyrell was here, out on Rocky Mount Road, there is a hole out there on the hill, near your place. There's a hole out there in the road. Well, about flattening a tire, we're gonna wind up spending some money fixing somebody's tires.
Rocky Mount Road.
Yes, it is.
I called it one on Luthersville Road, just below Rocky Mount. I saw
This
it
one is
like
really getting bad.
a Sunday, and it was huge. And,
Okay.
Well, the rain's better this year than they have been in the past.
Well, we're getting, okay. And Larry asked me to mention to y'all, the first responders will be served at the Masonic Lodge on the 10th of September at 6 p.m. You know, the thing we have in association with September 11th. So that will be taking place. And that's about all I have at this time. Commissioner Neal.
I don't really have a lot this morning, but just following up about the transit bus, I really do hate that one was damaged so, and thankful the driver was okay. But I think that program has worked really well for our county. I know when we started, it was going to have set hours, maybe 8 to 5 or whatever, but several mornings when I'm out early, 6 or 6:30, I see that bus out picking up people going to work. So that is a good thing. So I think it has worked well to serve our citizens, and hopefully it's given them that boost they need, because they probably didn't have money to buy transportation to get to work, and so hopefully maybe that will turn around for them. But it's been 6 o'clock in the morning, I have seen them out picking up, so that's a good thing.
So I talked to him yesterday, who uses it 2 or 3 times a month. He uses it to go, they drop him off in the morning, and he will go and do his grocery shopping and whatever, then he pick it back up and bring it home. It's pretty vital to him.
Yeah.
Will we be able to replace that bus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that with the county or that comes under Three Rivers?
Three Rivers, how much?
GDOT.
GDOT,
Comes
I would
under
say.
GDOT.
Do we know how long it'll take to replace it? Because I know it took a long time to,
To get it, yeah.
I don't know. It may take a little while.
It does take a while sometimes to get those
because they're
in.
allocated as
Mhm.
soon as they come.
But that's just one of the shining stars for us, I think.
I think you're right.
And when they get ready to surplus those buses and move to a replacement bus, y'all help me remember, we need to ask for consideration of those buses to come to the county. There are a lot of uses you can have for there, like especially public works and things like that. So,
Well, and recreation maybe even.
recreation, anything. I mean, because they still have service life on it. And so it's just something we need to remember to do once they start surplus.
So you mean we could possibly use those buses for the rec department to transfer those children?
Absolutely, we could use them in,
I mean, I would
and you
think.
don't have to have a CDL, I don't think, to drive it. I think some of them are like limited to less than 10 passengers or whatever. So, we can drive it, although we do have CDL. But it would be something we could use, and, if we've done that before.
Just need to find out when they're having their surplus.
And they'll let us know when they're going to replace it, and then they'll surplus it, and we just need to, look at, keeping that.
The other thing I wanted to mention was this past Saturday was the back to school bash, summer champions of children or whatever, and there was absolutely a huge turnout. There was over 700 children served. We had a large number of children who listed their school as Unity. They did try to provide some transportation from Luthersville and Greenville. It was not utilized very much, but a lot of children and families came anyway. Those children received numerous school supplies. They received backpacks. They received vision screenings, dental screenings. They could get their immunizations there that day if they needed to go to school. All their paperwork done. They could get clothes. They got new shoes. They got underclothes, socks. It was just, and they were fed while they were there, and that was due to the collaboration of a lot of agencies and churches and individual sponsors. And I would say it was a great success once again. I know our sheriff's office is one of the main sponsors for that, and all the resource officers were there, of course the sheriff and all too. But it was just a very, very good day with a lot of children served. Hopefully they went back to school on Monday with everything they needed. But 700-something children, that's not to mention the parents that were with them. So it was a lot more people than that came through. But it was a good day.
Commissioner Hines.
As has been stated, there's a lot of good things going on in the county. Just a couple things, and hopefully I'm not pronouncing this gentleman's name wrong. I think it's Contavious Caldwell Pope did a basketball camp here in Greenville. And once again, that was very well attended. There was over 300 kids there. It's good to have one of your native sons to come back and give back to the community. He's committed to come back on a regular basis, so we say kudos to what he was able to do. It was just interesting to see the questions the young kids asked. Number one thing, as a basketball player, they asked him, well, why would you want to play against LeBron James? And how much money are you making? But the one thing he encouraged them is it all started right there in Greenville, getting his studies, applying himself, and to be the best that he could possibly be. And so I thought it was really good to hear those words of encouragement. So once again, that was a good event. On last Thursday, or Wednesday, I can't remember the date now, they had the kickoff or opening at the school, and I was able to attend the one in Greenville, and that was another pouring, rainy day, but I was so surprised how many parents came out. They had a really great attendance. So we just ask that everyone keeps these students in their prayers in this school year. They seem excited to be there, believe it or not. I think they're wanting something to do from the summer, so that was really good. And once again, we ask that you keep Terrell Johnson in your prayers and also Bill Gregory's family in your prayers. My last thought is there's so much going on in every community, and unfortunately, violence and gun violence is just rampant in our society right now. And unfortunately, we experienced something here in Meriwether County just this past week. One of the families that was affected is a very personal friend of mine, and I asked that we lift this family up as well as just lift our county up. Whether you're in an urban area or suburban area or rural, it seems like gun violence hits everywhere at some point in time. So then I asked that we be prayerful of our community. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, Barrister Susan.
We are going to need an executive session to discuss mainly legal issues. I think we
Legal?
have brief personnel issues to discuss.
Okay. Thank you for that, Ms. Susan. This is our period for public comment. I think I've given everybody about a chance to speak here at the meeting. Is there any additional comment? Yes, ma'am, please come to the podium.
Talking about violence, a friend of mine lives in Alberton, and they have problems with people hanging out at the car wash and at the convenience store. And she did call the sheriff's office, and they came out, cited them. Well, those people came back and started burning rubber in front of her house and things like that, that now it's got her scared to report it any further. And just hoping that we can come up with something to help that community where that's concerned. I don't go through there that much at night, but I just felt compelled to speak on her behalf because she can't be here, that, you know, they do have a problem there, and she's scared. She's scared. She talked to me for a long time on the phone and said that the sheriff, they came out, they cited him, but then about an hour or so later, they came back and they were burning rubber in front of her house because they knew who called. And that scares me for her. And but she said that all hours of the night they're collecting, they're hanging out at the car wash, and they come in from towards Griffin down through 62 to the convenience store to get beer and all, and that is a problem for them up there. So, thank you.
I'd like to say one thing on that too. As the sheriff knows, in this county, there's a drug problem. Up in my area where I live in Alton, there's a drug problem. I find drug paraphernalia on my road at all times. I live on a dirt road that has 3 houses on it. They sell drugs on the back of my road at all times. Maybe we need, I know the sheriff, there's only, 2 deputies at any given time out running around the county. I understand that, but maybe we need a little more pressure on the north part of the county, because there's people coming from outside of the county coming to buy drugs. I've been in this town right here at 10 o'clock at night, right south of the courthouse, at a gas station, and somebody walked right up to me trying to sell me drugs with my family in the car, which intimidated and scared the crap out of them. Now, I know it's hard to fight drugs in this county because it is so big and it is so rampant, but when you have 2 people on your road that's a mile long, there's 3 houses in this dirt road, and they come up to your house because they're on drugs, they're on meth, they're screaming and hollering, they're cussing, they're asking somebody to shoot them. Yeah, he's been up all through Hamilton. It's a guy that he's been wearing the same shorts for 4 weeks. Now, somebody from the sheriff's department says this guy ain't violent. Okay, I've dealt with him. He is. I've dealt with him in Griffin. He is. He has some problems. He's a young man that's whacked out of his mind, but people keep giving him the same amount of drugs. He showed up on my dirt road and told me, God told me I can lay in fields anywhere I want. You can't say a word to me. Well, he's been to my house. I'll put it like this. The sheriff probably knows his name. My wife left work one day. This guy's he's getting drugs from out. I know he is. He's told me he has. My wife left to go pick up the kids one day, and I sat on the porch. And I live 1,000 feet from 362, 1,200 feet from Dalton Road. When I saw her go by the dirt road, he was standing on my front porch, because he didn't think anybody was there. Now, the deputies have told me he's looking for something to steal. I understand that. But like the woman she's talking about, he's an issue with her too. He stands in people's houses and their yards. He's issues up towards Harrelson. I mean, the young man is throwing sticks at pecan trees to knock pecans out of the tree so he has something to eat during the fall. I mean, we do have some issues on the north side of the county. North side of the county is one of the fastest growing part of the county. Well, the state agent told me 90% of the people he's selling to is anywhere across the north. Now, Warren Springs is a very good growing area too, but that's people retiring, not going to Atlanta to work. That's what he said. But all the way across the Lone Oak, he said 90% of the people I sell to are from Coweta County and Fayette County, and they're retired. And they're intimidated by some of the drug issues. I ain't heard anything about Luthersville, so I don't know anything about it. But I've heard it all about Woodbury. They're scared to go to Woodbury. People are scared to be south in Woodbury sometimes at nighttime. Woodbury's becoming a good place to go. People actually call me from Henry County to go shopping in Woodbury. Woodbury's growing. The antiques, the food, Smitty's, heck, people love Smitty's because of all the crap they eat in Henry County. I hate to say it like that. They love Smitty's. This county can grow and be so beautiful just from the historical stuff that we need to help it grow. And some of us want to do that. We want to help y'all. We want to do whatever we can to help Maryville County grow in a sufficient way and an adequate way that suits all of us. But we can't be scaring people off due to drug deals.
And I'm gonna have to call you.
Okay.
3 minutes is about as long.
But
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
All right. Future meeting.
Their concerns.
Come on to the front, Sheriff.
All right, I don't need to sign no risk.
No, we know who you are.
Everybody should address it from here. Huh? Yeah. Look, I appreciate y'all bringing this to their attention. What I would say to everybody in here, issues that you have in your neighborhood, if you're not calling 911, and you're seeing it happen, we don't know about it. We respond as quickly as we possibly can once we receive that call from that dispatch. And as timely as you can make that call, if we can get there as quickly as we can. I'm very much familiar with the Allison Food Mart and that car wash and the lady that I've talked to.
She's scared to death to call me.
Yeah, and I've talked to her personally more than once. Yeah, we got a car wash there, they got no lottery sign up there, we're doing all we can to keep those folks moving. You got lottery tickets, you got, I think they were serving chicken and whatever else up at that store. You always gonna have a crowd hanging around up there when there's food being served and there's lottery tickets and alcohol being bought. So always have a crowd there. We do what we can to monitor that as well. Drug problems, yeah. We know about the drug problem. Our community is no different than any other community across the state, across this country. My frustration is when we arrest these folks, we spend a lot of time on search warrants, going in these homes, busting these folks that are selling this poison to our children. And I'm chatting here without the DA's office being here, the prosecutors being here. But it's frustrating to us. We carry these folks to court. We arrest these folks, we carry these folks to court. You get 3 years probation. 3 years probation. For the work that we put into it, and the time and the effort that we put into it, 3 years probation. I told these folks right here last week or so, 2 days or so ago, we had a budget retreat. The day that I reported to these folks right here, this panel right here, I had 105 in jail. I had 106 in jail. This morning I got 97 in jail. This morning. And that ain't in. Because those folks that get 3 years probation for selling drugs or possessing drugs, they don't make their money. And they're right back in jail. will never end with what we're dealing with. We appreciate the fact that you're seeing it and you're concerned. We're concerned too. And we're doing all we can to combat these problems, these drug problems, these watering problems, speeding problems, believe it or not. Our citizens are not calling these folks out here and calling public works, they're calling me about potholes too. I'm just past that. We're picking up trash. Let me tell you this. We're picking up trash, and I made this pretty clear. We're out here picking up trash on our rural roads. We know where you're drinking. And we know where you're driving here. Because we're picking up your containers that you're pitching out the window. So we're concentrating on our rural county roads to catch those folks that are driving the influence. We got a big old county. It's not for you guys helping us. We are eyes and our ears to help us with whatever problems that you see. We stress this to our citizens. You see it, you hear it, or you feel it, and it don't feel right, it don't look right, it don't sound right. Don't wait 30 minutes and say, no, I'm not going to call 911, get somebody out here. 30 minutes is a broad head start for them to get out of your area. But the call may be immediate. They're surprised how quick it gets to you. So keep that in mind. If you see something that don't look right, call somebody up. There's something could be going on in this neighbor's house that you may not be aware of. We need to get out there and use it.
Some of the older people in the community sure are really intimidated to call. Just because they're scared something's going to happen to them when you're not around.
And that does happen. I've had it happen where folks have called things in and, and however, either they assume they know who called it in or they really do know, and you're right, they won't call again. And I don't know how we address that, what we do.
Those calls
That does happen.
can remain anonymous. Call can remain anonymous to dispatch. You want to make sure that you clearly tell that dispatcher, do not put my name on the record. And we can, that can be avoided through those means.
Yeah, but sometimes it's hard when you've got a road that's only got one house on it.
Yeah.
And the people know that was the house that called. And that's where people get into a very difficult situation.
But I want to make one comment on the drug situation and driving. I did drug rehab nursing for quite a few years. I'm a registered nurse. Let me say this to each of you out there. Reach out to your state reps, reach out to your state senators, because what happened in a lot of this is the state shut down these rehab centers that were actually helping these people. So what happens now is these people aren't having the time to become clean and get off of it, because if Sheriff Smith and his office are going out and arresting, and it's a 3-day process from the time of arrest to court, and they're back out on probation, they haven't had time enough to get this out of their system. So reach out to those state reps and those senators and say, look, we need these back in the state. We need to help. It's getting more and more rampant. So that's what I would suggest to you, because the actual place that I used to work at is no longer. And it was one of the last ones that was still state funded. So reach out to those people. Maybe we can get these individuals help. But if you have those individuals that you know of and they have family members that are concerned about those, tell them to go to the probate court. They can get a 1013 signed to have that person put away if they feel that they're a harm to themselves or someone else. We can't do that. And it's unfortunate that until these people hit complete rock bottom, they don't want to help themselves. So that's my little soapbox today.
One quick thing, the person I'm talking about, his family dumped him in Marywood County because they were tired of living.
Okay, I'm gonna have to call a wrap, folks. We're gonna have to move on with the meeting here.
I'm so sorry, you didn't sign out about your last name.
Okay, go ahead and get that on there. It looks like, of course, our next meeting will be August the 28th. I don't think there's any doubt that's going to be a biggie at 6 p.m. Now, we do have need for executive session for legal and personnel. Do I hear a motion we go into executive session? So moved. There's a second. All in favor? We're in executive session.